Welcome to Managerial Finance, the MBA Corporate Finance course for Thomas More University. So let's get right to it and start talking about the course. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is a basic summary. This course is an exploration of financial decision making and the strategies that deal with enhancing shareholder value. And of course, we'll look at this primarily from a domestic point of view, but we also will incorporate some international aspects to the decision making. The primary topics of the course are decision making itself from a financial perspective. And this is also going to include an introduction to some financial statement analysis, where we will review the outcome of decision making, which are the financial statements of the company. We'll also do some risk and return analysis. We'll explore capital budgeting. The primary activity or a primary activity of financial managers is determining what assets we need to buy. Capital budgeting will help us with that process. We also will look at bond and stock analysis and valuation. And in the end, the other primary question we'll be asking is, once a company decides what it wants to buy, how does it finance its operations and its expansion? The program outcomes for the Business Administration Department follow four basic guidelines, or aspects, if you will. We want to, graduates should be able to communicate effectively and integrate technology. They should be able to demonstrate and apply knowledge from a variety of subdisciplines. They should be able to utilize analytical skills in decision making and problem solving. And of course, they should be able to examine the complexities of decision making in the global environment. The course outcomes then follow these basic guidelines. We want to explain the basics of decision-making process and how financial management functions in the corporation. We want to analyze risk and return applications, risk-return relationships, and the applications to financial decision-making. We want to calculate valuation techniques for securities and projects of the corporation. And we want to be able to explain the models used to describe the capital structure and the dividend policy of the company. How we're going to do this is four primary tasks, if you will. We're going to be able to develop a decision model for financial applications. Students are going to be able to use a variety of techniques to analyze corporate information. We're going to have an understanding of the challenges the corporations face in the funding of operations and growth. And we'll be able to develop and explain the process of analyzing the financial statements of the firm. So now, more about the course itself. The course obviously is maintained through our learning management system at Thomas More. There is an additional software package that we're going to register for. It's called My Finance Lab. You will find instructions of this later in the tour of the course. Students will also watch a variety of videos to prepare for coursework. And there are Excel worksheets that are provided that will assist with doing the solving of problems, working on research, and quite frankly, just helping maybe further embed the concepts of finance into the course and its its mechanisms and its techniques and its theories. So the Excel worksheets are there to help students just further develop their understanding, if you will. The textbook material, the primary textbook is Corporate Finance by Burke and DeMarzo. You should have received this from eCampus. You also need to go to the eCampus site and the virtual bookshelf to retrieve the access code for My Finance Lab software. I will kind of warn you a little bit. If you have another course that has this My Lab and Mastering software, make sure you use the right access code for the right course. Don't mix those up. Usually not a problem for our MBA students, but it has happened in the past. To be sure that we're ready to go with this course, I would ask you also to respond to the discussion board question to confirm the receipt of these materials. And again, you'll find that at the Start button. There'll be a link to a discussion question. It's just yes or no. You should expect to spend between 20 to 25 hours a week completing the assignments of this course. The Canvas system will help you guide through those materials. The class activities essentially include quizzes and exams, individual assignments that are homework and discussion types of assignments, and there's also group assignments that include research and a paper. The quizzes and exams are done through the MyLab software. They're timed, so you really have to watch your time. Don't wait till the last day to get started with this homework. And when the quiz is done, when you're done with that quiz, and they're fairly short quizzes, rarely is there any real heavy math in there other than maybe some conceptual kinds of things. But at the completion, you'll get your grade and be able to review the quiz. Students have, there'll be 2 exams, a midterm and a final. You're going to be provided the questions ahead of time, so you can prepare any way that you wish to take this particular exam. The midterm is going to be uploaded the 4th class, and the final will be handed out the 5th week of the class, and that'll be due on the 6th week. As far as the individual assignments, most of them are going to have a homework assignment, obviously directed through the Canvas system into the My Finance Lab software. And again, these homework problems, you'll complete those online. I'll go through those when we actually get a little bit later in the course. I'll be maybe another video to help you understand how to solve those problems. But they are not timed, so you have you have the entire week to complete them. But also, I wouldn't wait till the last minute to solve those problems. Everybody's familiar with discussion board articles and/or videos. Each one's going to have an assigned article to read or a video to watch. And of course, these are due as prescribed in the Canvas system. Each week there's a prompt for the questions, and that'll be posted with the discussion assignments themselves. As far as the group projects are concerned, there are really 2 parts to this. Each week there'll be some research that's required to help further understand the company that we are researching. We're going to actually look at a real company, and we're going to first work with and start some data gathering. And along the way, we're going to use that data to help us with the second part of the projects, which is we're going to prepare a complete financial analysis of the company. That piece will probably end up being roughly, I would say, 60 to 70 pages long, but we're going to do this in probably 4 parts. So there'll be shorter papers, so you don't have to worry about getting all that stuff together in one big document all at one time. All group projects, or obviously since they are group project, only one group member will upload the projects. Doesn't have to be the same person every week, but there has to be one person only that uploads the documents. With respect to the paper requirements, there are some technical aspects that are placed in the syllabus. So I just wanted to highlight a couple things here. Number one is there's no real specified length to any assignment. There is a stated length, but that's really a guideline, not a requirement. Students are expected to provide graduate level analysis and summarization of articles. This means there should be very accurate spelling and grammar. There should be absolutely no spelling errors ever. Again, the more technical details of the paper are in the actual syllabus. The papers are going to be scanned through Grammarly to check for spelling and grammar accuracy. I also use Grammarly for a similarity rating. Graduate students should strive for a similarity rating of less than 20%. In fact, if I were a graduate student, I would really be shooting for closer to 10%. Again, we want to assure that the document you're writing is more you than it is someone else. And that's not to say you're plagiarizing. It's to say that the analysis, right, your opinion, should be a bigger part of the paper than some of the evidence that you might use for that paper. As far as grading, the quizzes, exams, and the group projects, those are 30% each, and discussion and individual assignments are 20% each. We'll actually do a course tour in a separate video to go through the course and talk about the items. You'll find that in the Start Here section of the Canvas site. How do you contact the instructor? If you really need to talk person to person, the phone number you would use is the one that's listed here. That belongs to our business department administrative assistant. So that person's only going to be available 9-ish through 5 o'clock in the afternoon. When you call that person, if you need to speak to an instructor face-to-face, you have to ask the assistant to connect you to the instructor's cell phone. Even if you're calling me, if you call Thomas More to get to my actual phone in my office, I'm rarely in the office, so you're almost always going to be kicked to my message machine, and messages, it could be 2-3 days before I get to those to the office to get to those messages. Of course, you can use the Thomas More email system. If you're in a quiz or a homework problem, there is a link that's referred to as Ask the Instructor. This will actually send me an email with the problem that you're working on. That will obviously help me with some of the problems. So if you're working a problem and you send me an email through Thomas More and say, hey, I'm working on this problem, I can't figure it out, it's very difficult for me to understand where you're at and what the problem is. Even if you give me pictures, it's difficult to do that. So again, if you're working the problem and you're really stuck, ask the instructor, and that will send you through. Canvas also has a mechanism for messaging and questions. There's always the opportunity for virtual meetings or chats if you need them. By the way, these functions are also available for your groups and working with students in your group. So it actually it's a pretty nice collaborative tool. You can also set up your own collaborative websites and sections to the course if you want to work as a group. Regardless of the method you use to contact an instructor, please make sure you tell us what class and section you're in. It's just much easier for us to figure out sometimes what class you're in if you tell us, rather than us have to go through the 3-4 classes that we might have to remember exactly where you are. So what are the immediate tasks for the course? You need to complete the assignment in the course information module, right? There's what's called, do you have the right materials? Again, we've already talked about this. It's just a yes or no question. However, if you do not have the materials, you need to contact eCampus immediately. There's a link on the left-hand side of Canvas to contact eCampus, and their email is at the top. When you send that email, if you're missing materials, please CC the instructor at the same time so that we're involved and we understand where we're at in the process of getting you the textbook materials. You'll need to subscribe to My Finance Lab. There are videos available in the Start Now button section of Canvas. And again, I'll show you that when we go through the tour. There's also a discussion question for your bio, right? It's just nice for me to know you a little bit, right? So there are some prompted questions. I'd like to know what you do in your current career. What is it that you hope to get from this course? What is it that you hope to get from Thomas More at the end of this course? What is it that you hope to achieve and acquire moving forward after you've completed this course? And as a basic class strategy, I think the way I would approach this course is I think I would watch the videos of the chapter content first. You can include the problem-solving videos at this point if you wish. Most of them are very short, usually less than 3-4 minutes. But the chapter videos have a PowerPoint that's associated right with that video. So if you download the PowerPoint, you can follow that through, take notes. If you have questions, obviously those are questions you want to pose in class. The next thing I would do is I would start the discussion board question within the first couple of days. As soon as you complete your response, then that offers up your response for other students to check out your information and then obviously make replies. So the sooner people start to complete the discussion board question, the easier it's going to be for us to follow up with the remainder of the requirement for the discussion board, which is replying to classmates. I would then come back to the textbook. It will be a lot easier to read the textbook after you've watched the videos. Finance is not very exciting. And I find especially with people with minimal experience with finance, I think the videos will give you some ease as far as reading the material once you get to the textbooks. And just as a final strategy, don't wait until the last day to start the assignments. Some are time sensitive, all right, and some are group oriented. So there's going to be some task work that we're going to have to do prior to actual completing of the assignments. So I look forward to working with you in the class, and I'll see you soon.